it's Michael J, and today I'm going to discuss the genre of the teen film. Films about teens, films marketed towards teens, all through the ages. I'm going to start with the 1930s and bring us up to contemporary times. And the one interesting thing I found out about this as I've been going through all these films is that more often than not, the protagonist is a boy, and usually a lonely kid without friends, who has, by the end of the film, he triumphs over his enemies, and he gets the girl in the end. And by the 1990s, he's getting the boy in the end, if that's where he's going. But there isn't a lot of female protagonists in these films, except in the 80s, we get several great films with a female protagonist, and they're all Molly Ringwald. Anyway, let's go on the journey. The true heyday of the teen film was the era of director John Hughes in the 1980s. Doesn't that seem true? Or do you think it's because I was a teenager in the 1980s? No, there definitely was a huge body of work with the teenage experience at the heart of the 1980s. Although history tells us that the teenager really became a force to be reckoned with in the 1950s, because that's when they were identified as a target consumer. However, the teen story in movies showed up prominently back in 1933 with the release of Wild Boys of the Road. This unique story told of the plight of displaced kids during the Great Depression.
Let's run.
Don't! There'll be trouble to do.
Kind of a sausage, you woman. Always wanting to kiss, kiss, kiss.
I'm so cold.
Yeah? Well, you better go in the house then.
Harry?
Another Depression-era story about hard teen boys was based on a Broadway play, Dead End. At the center of Dead End was a group of young teen boys dealing with the hardships of a broken-down East Side New York neighborhood. The Broadway cast of boys got to go to Hollywood to make the movie version, and were so popular that as a group they made a series of films and were known collectively as the Dead End Kids.
You want to blow this gang?
Yeah, sure.
If you got any dough, you got to be initiated.
Well, I got 3 cents.
Give me it.
Give it over.
Come on, don't hold that. Get it up, get it up. That's all you got?
Yeah.
Sure.
Honest, thank you.
Don't you have to
Shut
If you want to blow this gang, gotta have a quarter, see?
A quarter? Who am I going to get a quarter from?
From your old lady.
She wouldn't give me no quarter.
Well, you know what? She keeps that dough, don't you?
A more wholesome, squeaky clean version of a Depression-era teenager came in the form of Mickey Rooney as Andy Hardy. Through a series of films from 1937 to 1944, America saw Andy Hardy go through high school and then off to college. He has a wonderful middle-class life. His concerns are which girl to take to the school dance, and his father, Judge Hardy, is always on hand for good advice.
I don't understand these modern girls.
In what way?
Well, Polly, for instance. Sometimes she won't let you kiss her at all. But this other one, this Cynthia, she'll let you kiss her whenever you want. She won't go swimming, she won't play tennis, she won't go for a walk, she just wants to kiss you all the time. I'm a nervous wreck.
In Love Finds Andy Hardy, 1938, Mickey Rooney is paired with Judy Garland for the first time. At 15, Judy is given a meaningful storyline reflecting that awkward in-between time of a younger teenager.
I'm past the stage of doll and carriage. I'm not the age to think of marriage. I'm too old for toys, and I'm too young for boys. I'm just an in-between.
Later, the two would be paired in a separate series of films where the main plot was how they would put on a show, starting with Babes in Arms in 1939.
Good morning, sunbeams will soon smile through. Good morning, my darling, to you.
Listen, are you kids willing to stick together and pull yourselves out of a hole?
You bet.
I've got an idea. Our folks think we're babes in arms, huh? Well, we'll show them whether we're babes in arms or not.
I'm gonna write a show for us and put it on right here in Seaport. Why, it'll be the most up-to-date thing these hicks around here have ever seen. Opening night, we'll have Max Gordon, Sam Harris, Lee Schubert down to give us the once-over. How about it, kids?
The Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland teen films from MGM were wholesome family fun, in contrast to the dead-end kids who were always running from the cops. MGM continued in the 40s with a similar view of teenagers, even with Jane Powell and Elizabeth Taylor taking on the storyline. A Date with Judy in 1948 concerned which girl was going to go out with the older man. By the end, young Jane Powell realizes that she had a pretty good catch all along, with a boy her own age.
I forgive you for everything.
It's a most unusual day. It's like catching a bridal bouquet. It's like reaching the moon or composing a tune. It's a most unusual day. All the world is bursting with song, and I feel like I really belong. It's like finding a friend, having money to spend. It's a most unusual day.
1955 really marks the beginning of a big shift for teen films. They certainly become grittier with the new sound of rock and roll and the impossibly troubled teens of the Blackboard Jungle.
You are now listening to Rock Around the Clock. This is the theme music from MGM's sensational new picture, Blackboard Jungle. Many people said the story could not, must not, dared not be shown. The picture already has the movie and book world gasping. Blackboard Jungle deals with an explosive subject, the teenage terror in the schools. It is the frankest, the toughest, the most realistic film since On the Waterfront. It is fiction, but fiction torn from big city modern savagery. It packs a brass-knuckle punch in its startling revelation of those teenage savages who turned big city schools into a clawing jungle. Blackboard Jungle will be the talk of this town. Don't miss it.
That same year brought the phenomenon of James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. These teen characters were complex, finally.
You know what kind of drunken brawls those parties turn into? It's no place for kids.
A minute ago, you said you didn't care if he drinks.
He said a little drink.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
They were not just shown as rebels for the sake of rebellion, but as products of their home life. The adults in their lives have their own problems, which trickle down and manifest in the teens' view of the world.
Girls don't love their father. Since when? Since I got to be 16?
Stop that!
No, I don't want you to go to the police. There were other people. Why should you be the only one involved?
But I am involved. We are all involved. Mom, a kid was killed tonight.
This is all going too fast
You
for
better
me,
give
son.
me something. You better give me something fast.
Jimmy, you're very young. A foolish decision now could wreck your whole life. In 10 years, you'll never know this even happened.
Dad, answer her.
Stand up! You want to kill your own father?
By contrast, Walt Disney released a fantasy about suburban family life with The Shaggy Dog in 1959. This parable about a lonely teen who is cursed with randomly turning into a dog made for comic fun, but also did a nice job at depicting kids who felt like outsiders.
What's the big idea?
Get down.
Now, don't give me trouble, Mooch.
You've got trouble. Look at yourself.
Oh,
no, no, not here, not now, please.
Wilby, are you all right? Oh, boy, you're a dog again.
What are you so happy about?
Gosh, Wilby, you know you're a lot more fun as a dog than you are as my brother.
Ah, shut up and get me out of here.
The production company that really took advantage of the teen market was American International Pictures. You might even call the films they made teensploitation. The AIP reign on the silver screen, especially the drive-ins, went from teen horror to teen rebel to beach party films through the mid-1960s.
Beach blanket bingo, beach blanket bingo, beach blanket bingo, that's the name of the game.
The beach party films might have worn out the welcome of the teen flick for a while, but they came back full force in a series of films by John Hughes in the 1980s. There were many, but the kickoff film was 16 Candles in 1984. The Breakfast Club became a touchstone for a generation. Also in 1985, I was particularly fond of the dementedly funny Better Off Dead. Ferris Bueller's Day Off made a huge impact in 1986.
What are we gonna do?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
There was also a bunch of rated R teen films that I couldn't get into to see first run, such as Porky's, Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
See Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Just use your best judgment. You know we trust you.
and Risky Business.
You got the place all to yourself?
Just take those old records off the shelf. I said listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that old time rock and roll. Don't try to take me to a disco. You'll never even get me out on the floor. In 10 minutes I'll be late for the door. I like that old time rock and roll.
So far away from Love Finds Sandy Hardy, these films focused on teen boys' obsession with having sex.
I don't remember giving permission for a party, Joe.
A party?
I'm getting dizzy.
Another two standouts for me were The Karate Kid, another lonely teen underdog story who beats the odds to win over his bullies and win the girl.
Finish him!
Also, a dance film, Footloose. The basic premise of kids wanting to have a prom in a town that has outlawed dancing seemed unrealistic to me, but the smart way the teens talked the overly protective adults into backing down so that they could have the dance was empowering, and the film is overall very joyful. A harmless remake in 2011 didn't improve on the original.
For the future
The 1980s ended with a teen film that represents the subgenre of the boys' prep school movie, Dead Poets Society, a classic by any standard, and one of Robin Williams' best roles as the unorthodox poetry teacher.
Language was developed for one endeavor, and that is to communicate. No, to woo women. Mr. Keating.
Some people like to rock, some people like to roll, but moving and a grooving's gonna satisfy my soul. Let's have a party.
Another very good film of this type was School Ties from 1992, featuring Brendan Fraser and a young Matt Damon.
Eat your hearts out. Oh, never mess with my hair.
We judge ourselves here by the highest standards.
Gentlemen, we all have to live here. We're not going to bring the jungle into my house. I envy you. You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You are who you are.
The late 90s started to show a new kind of teen movie, the gay coming out film. Beautiful Thing was a heartwarming example from the UK.
Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on here, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Yeah, Leah. Just a little drag on that.
The Edge of 17 was a frank and honest indie film about the up and down struggles of a teen coming to terms with his sexual orientation.
Rob's gay.
Let's go someplace else.
These films were shown in art houses, so there was a limited audience, with most people discovering them later on the shelves of Blockbuster Video.
I need to talk.
You can tell me anything.
Lose your heart.
Close your eyes.
And find where you belong.
I'm scared.
2007 brought a return to the John Hughes type of film with Charlie Bartlett, a lonely boy who becomes popular by acting as a bathroom psychiatrist and prescribing medications for a price.
It is possible for Ritalin to get you pretty high.
You're Charlie Bartlett, right? Do you think there's any way that we could talk? I can't go to my parents. They already think I'm a freak. What's going on? I'm like totally depressed. Feels like a heart attack. I'm gonna work this out. Everything that I've read, there's not one case of anyone dying of a panic attack. You just tell yourself, in 15 minutes, I'll probably feel fine. What do I do until then? Sometimes it feels like a heart attack.
I'll put you on a low dose of Xanax.
And we'll meet next week, same time.
Who is this guy? Charlie Bartlett. Charlie Bartlett?
Charlie Bartlett. I can't sleep at all. Anger and aggression. Obsessive behavior.
Are you making any friends at all?
Working on it.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower is another lonely boy story, but he finds a group of friends in high school who change his life.
If my English teacher's the only friend I make today, that would be sort of depressing.
The story included an outgoing gay character with a subplot.
Come on.
Do you like football?
Love it.
Be aggressive! Passive aggressive!
So, I'm just like you, except I have one huge-ass secret.
Hey! I like your boots! I said I like your boots! Goodbye!
Nobody knows I'm gay.
But it wasn't until Love, Simon in 2018 that the Cineplexes saw a mainstream try at a gay teen coming out movie. It was a charming little sentimental movie and a very big hit at the box office.
It's Bram.
We can count on the teen movies to reflect our times, whether it's the harsh realities of life or the way we wish life could be. And sometimes is.
Worries far behind you, but in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Da 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 da
Hey, bud, let's party.
You can fly if you don't Chattanooga.